Someone dies of bowel cancer every 30 minutes in the UK, and that's why knowing the symptoms could save your life.
Well, April is Bowel Cancer Awareness Month, and this year's campaign aims to highlight the 5 key changes to your body that you need to look out for.
Well, our reporter Kit Bradshaw sadly knows how devastating the disease can be. He lost his husband Laurence to bowel cancer last year. Kit joins us in the studio. Kit, first of all, just tell us a little bit more about Laurence and about his diagnosis.
Laurence was the love of my life, first proper boyfriend. We met at Sussex University as 21-year-olds, and he was such a gorgeous, kind, gentle, occasionally silly, but a generous man. And we'd been together a few years when he first started to notice some changes in his body that he wasn't really happy about. And for Laurence, this started with a sort of a discomfort in his side, what he described at the time as a bit of like a stitch, like you'd been on a run and you had that uncomfortable stitch, but it persisted. And he went to his GP, and he was living in London at the time. And initially his GP told him it was probably irritable bowel syndrome, and he gave him some IBS medication. But several months went on and he was still having these discomforts that he wasn't happy about. Went back to his GP, but because of his age, it took several more months until we'd actually moved in together at the time in London, and until he got on a waiting list for a colonoscopy. And it was several more months after that, again because of his age, he wasn't in a high-risk group, until he had that colonoscopy. And as soon as he had that, the doctor doing it said, "You've got bowel cancer." Within a few days, we knew it was stage 3 bowel cancer. And obviously that was, all the sort of superlatives of your world falls apart. Laurence was 27 at the time. This was back in 2019, and he underwent surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, but sadly the cancer returned in 2021. And we brought our wedding forward. We were already engaged at the time, but we brought that wedding forward to October, and we got married, and that was such a happy day, and it was full of joy and it was full of love, and all of Laurence's friends and family were there, and that was incredible, and it was the best day of my life. And sadly, last year in June, Laurence passed away at the age of 31.
Kit, we know you, we know what you went through. It's amazing that you're using Laurence's story to help others.
Yeah, it's really important to talk about these symptoms, because Laurence was young, he was in his 20s at the time, and people in that age group, they're not part of the routine screening programs. Many people watching this may have done a bowel cancer testing kit at home because they're in that age bracket where you can do those tests, but if you're young you don't, so you really need to know the symptoms and what to look out for so you can talk to your doctor, because bowel cancer is treatable, but the quicker you're diagnosed, like with so many cancers, the more treatable it is. And knowing those 5 key symptoms, some charities call it the high 5, others use an acronym and it spells BOWEL, which makes it quite easy to remember, is really important. And sorry for anyone who's eating their dinner at the moment, but it's important that we talk about these symptoms. And they are B, blood in your poo or blood in the toilet. O, obvious change in bowel habit. That was the case for Laurence. By the time he had that colonoscopy, he was spending more time on the toilet. W is weight loss that you can't explain. E is extreme tiredness for no apparent reason, and L is a lump or pain in your tummy, which Laurence had as well. So if you have any of those symptoms, just go and talk to your doctor. A lot of them might not be bowel cancer, but the quicker that the tests can be ordered and you can get that peace of mind, the better.
And we just ought to say as well that you've been raising awareness and funds too. I know that you've recently completed a walk in memory of Laurence.
Yeah, Laurence left me and his family a letter before he died, and in that letter was a to-do list. Laurence was the organiser. He had all the spreadsheets for the house, so he wrote the to-do lists. And one of the things on that to-do list was to always come together each year, if we could, as a family, and do something to raise money for cancer charities. Because as Laurence wrote in that letter, people living with cancer really deserve it. So last weekend, we did a 24-mile walk, a group of 60 of us, from Beachy Head on the Sussex coast all the way along to Brighton. Laurence loved the Sussex coast. We met in Brighton, and that was amazing, just to all be able to come together. We're hoping to do something like that every year for a different cancer charity, and this year we raised over £9,000, and we're hoping not just to raise money, obviously, which is important, but also, to raise awareness and to talk about these things, talk about the symptoms, talk about what to look out for in your body, just so people are aware that, and hopefully that can save lives, and we can do Laurence proud as well.
Kit, thank you so much for telling us your story today. And if you'd like more information about Laurence's story, then please go to our website, itv.com/Meridian. You'll also find information on there about ITV Lorraine's No Buts campaign.